The anticipation is killing me.
Circle and circle and circle. And we're live on Facebook.
This is what we get.
That only took, what, 20 minutes?
Sorry for yelling in your ears. Rob was having some technical difficulties. Just thought you guys should know that. Hey, we're so glad that you joined us on ACC Talk.
It was called.
My name is Jarrell.
My name's Dave.
And I'm Rob.
So, we're going to start this episode again. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, what are you looking forward to? That's relatively short term. Are you looking forward to, I don't know, Mother's Day? May 8th?
Of course we're looking forward to
Something else?
Mother's Day.
Hey,
Can't not answer that.
Did you forget that it was Mother's
Are
Day
you
this
looking
weekend?
forward to Father's Day?
And now this is a handy reminder that you should have something
You're welcome.
for your mom or your significant other who's also a
But
mom.
Dave's like in an easy spot right now because he shared this with me the other day. He already gave Sharon her Mother's Day gift. And it was like seriously, make everybody else look bad. But it was like the incredible, like perfect opportunity to do it. And so share it. What happened, man?
It was perfect. So we have glass bottles for my baby, and my wife knocked one off and broke it. And
I think he's losing brownie
everywhere.
points.
Someone.
You could just
Glass
say
someone.
the glass was
Bo-
knocking.
the bottle
The
broke.
bottle broke.
Sharon.
So in the middle of cleaning it
My
up, my
wife.
wife is like, man, I wish I had a Roomba. Today is a good day to have a Roomba. Well, lo and behold, that is what I bought her for Mother's Day. I had my daughter go get it out of our bedroom and give it to her.
What was
So-
now I don't want to diminish from the deal, but what was the look on her face?
Oh, she was flabbergasted.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
She was just floored. Like, what is this?
So is
You've
that
been
where you
reading my
hide things? though?
emails.
You hide things under the bed?
That's where I hid this thing.
Okay.
Because she goes into my closet, like,
You're
under
just-
the bed, probably not as much.
Yeah, that's cool. Rob, you prepared?
Always, right? Always. No, still working on that one a little bit. Know it's coming, but working on it. That's where we're going to leave
For
this.
your mom or for Crystal?
Oh, everybody.
Hey, we've
Hey,
never
hey.
used the poll feature, and we're gonna try it out. We're gonna try it out.
There is nothing better than just FaceTiming mom on Mother's Day. Just let her know you're thinking of her. So that one's pretty easy.
That's your gift to her?
Honestly, we don't send
pull
like
this
a lot
thing
of
up so we
gifts
can-
to the folks. We usually wait till we get to see them in
Yes.
person and just kind of celebrate. It's kind of a battle my dad and I have, who's going to pay for a nice dinner. And so we wait for them to come out here, or we go out there. They usually come here a little more than we get to go there. And so we just kind of lump birthdays and Mother's and Father's Day and all into one thing and just go out and enjoy our time together then.
All right,
But I need something for Crystal still. But
We're trying something new. There's a poll on here. You guys can answer if you're ready. All right.
What did you ask?
Are
that?
you
Here's
prepared for
here's a-
Mother's Day? Yes, no, I need help.
There was a question, like, but you haven't answered the question.
He can't.
Yes. So
He's good.
I'm
He's
prepared
prepared.
in theory. I know what I'm going to do. My wife doesn't know. I don't think I told her. My wife doesn't know what I'm
Josie,
going
if
to
you
do.
text me, I'll tell you.
Hey, Josie, I know.
So, with that being said, I've got a plan. And I think she will enjoy this Mother's Day more than she's ever enjoyed any day of her entire life.
Hey, that's pretty good, man.
That is a big
It's a
statement.
big. You're setting it up.
I'm
Look,
just
look at the grin on
I'm
his
just
face when he
saying.
says that.
She's
I'm
probably
just
gonna
saying.
watch this too, and she's gonna be like,
she's been hinting at
this?
this for
Well, now you're helping her
decades.
Decades.
And so now I'm going to give her exactly what she wants.
I'm also looking forward to Friday when the barbershop reopens. Praise Jesus.
Let's go away from that.
He is as excited.
No, not true.
He said he can't wait for Friday, is what I heard him say earlier.
I've already given the gift. Like, I've already
You're
done
true.
it.
You
It's
are.
true.
I mean, that is. Now, does that mean like Sunday, nothing happens special for Sharon? I don't want to take away anything that maybe I just got planned here. So Sharon, don't listen. I'm just
get some things from the kids.
Dude, do you know how much a Roomba is?
She's requested.
You got what you got.
and you will like it.
She's requested a specific dinner, and so I will prepare that for her.
That's cool.
Do we get to know what that is?
Sure. Pulled pork nachos.
Pulled pork nachos.
Yep, she loves them.
You're not going to be heard.
Yeah, you unplugged.
They don't really plug in that well in this, I feel like.
I don't know how long I was dark.
But yes, Friday, you get to go to the bar. I couldn't take it anymore. And when Crystal and I were back a few years in our marriage and always trying to save money, we bought clippers and I'd let her cut my hair. But
Good
it's
job,
probably been about 10 years, I think, since last time Crystal cut my hair. And I just couldn't take it anymore, so I pulled the clippers out the other day and said, go for it. And I think she did all right.
It looks pretty good.
Good job, Crystal.
I'm impressed.
I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll let her do it all the time again.
Save that money, brother.
Extra rounds of golf.
Extra rounds of golf. Crystal, you take that money. You charge him.
She doesn't watch this.
All right. So today on Acc Talk, we do like to be serious sometimes. We are talking about
Sorry.
spirituality versus religion. And so I don't know about you guys. We're sitting in different seats.
We are sitting.
I'm like, why is this so different?
I'm not.
It's because you had the computer set up over there.
Yeah,
like
I don't know. It's so strange. Spirituality versus religion. Have any of you guys in the comments, or maybe you're in the comments yourself?
Wait, did anybody answer the poll?
They did. We had 3 people say that they were yes prepared.
0 people said they weren't.
Like,
you can't come out and say on this like I'm not prepared. I need help. I mean,
yes. So okay, spirituality versus religion. I don't know if any of you guys in the comments or you know of someone that ever felt this way or ever heard this. You know, I'm spiritual, but I'm not very religious. I don't necessarily maybe either like the rules and the confines of religion, you know, but I consider myself to be a good person, a spiritual person. And so we just wanted to kind of tackle a little bit of that mindset here today and really just kind of talk specifically, you know, is it possible, you know, to have a relationship with Christ and kind of be separate from the church and what that kind of looks like. And so, what do you guys think in terms of tackling that issue?
Well, I mean, first of all, just to start, like I understand where it's coming from because people do have hurts from the church. They've been burned before. They've had, I mean, the honest reality of it is that the church is made up of human people that are broken and make stupid decisions. And sometimes they don't realize it. Like they think that they're doing the right thing. They think they're doing what God called them to do. And they don't realize that they're making a mistake. And so I understand where that's coming from. But on the other side of it, like I do think that do I believe that someone can have like a saving relationship with Jesus and not be involved in a church? Yes. Like I don't think there's anything about coming and joining a group of believers that leads to salvation. I think that happens because of your faith in Jesus alone. But do I believe that you are going to get the full picture of everything that God wants for you? No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Dave say this before, like when we talk about small groups, there's so many statements in the New Testament about with one another. And so I think you are going to fall short of maybe everything God would want you to experience in the relationship with him if you chose to say, I'm just not going to be a part of a local body. Even as I think of the church too, you said it, it's people, imperfect people. And so obviously mistakes are going to happen. Sin is going to be a part of that. But I think that's another beauty of what the church is. It is a bunch of messed up people, imperfect people. It's kind of a great representation of what the gospel is and the grace that there is. It's an opportunity for the world to be able to see Christians who don't always agree on things, that don't always maybe like each other, you know, wouldn't necessarily be friends outside those walls, having that ability to come together unified under Christ. And I think that's a great picture of what Jesus is about. And I think that's one of the reasons the church is there. It's supposed to be a light to the world, but unfortunately, I get why some, people could be hurt. Churches do make mistakes. I think a danger that can happen in the church is when especially a leader gets elevated to a different level than anybody else in the church and looked at, and then that person stumbles or does something that discredits their ministry, and all of a sudden there's mistrust, and you feel like you've been betrayed, and so all of a sudden that happens. And I know of people where they don't really want to be in a church because they feel like they're all crooked and it's dishonest and they can't trust people and they've been hurt, and why would I go back into that? And so it's really unfortunate. But I think when we are able to jump into a church, it's that powerful piece of a great witness of what the body of Christ is and that message of who Jesus is.
And it's what Jesus prayed for us. And I mean, it's one of the ways that he set up for us to be able to share the gospel with people, is that I may not like everything that you like, and we may not agree on everything that we can agree, but our faith in Christ drives us so much that we can be friends, like that we can be together and figure our way out through our disagreements. And I think it sets up just a beautiful picture for what Christ wants for our church, and a huge witness and light for people. And I think it's important.
I think another example of the benefit of being a part of a church is what we get to do each week with Dollar Club. Because if I'm just on my own, my $1 isn't going to go very far. But with a bunch of other people's dollar, there's a greater impact that holds to be able to give somebody a check for hundreds of dollars versus $1.
Yeah, and then you get to weeks like this week where we had two checks because somebody...
Couple people's
generosity like gave over and above and wanted to go directly to Dollar Club, and we were actually, between those two gifts, able to account for a whole full another Dollar Club check.
Yeah,
and just think that's incredible.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think one thing that I think you have to be careful of when you decide to go this road alone, we see it quite a bit now in so many different other arenas, not just with church. But it becomes really easy to surround yourselves with like-minded opinions, and then for you guys just to bounce it off of, and almost to the point, if somebody agree with you on whatever you're thinking about any sort of topic, then you kind of just empower yourselves, and it gets really easy to go down really kind of squirrely roads. And so I think the really good part about doing life with other people is you will be challenged in some of the things that you believe. You will be challenged to say, if you believe in those things, are we living it out? And there's accountability there. And then there will be hopefully it's all done in love, in this piece of not necessarily wanting to call someone out and be like, hey, you're not doing this right. But as we are getting off course, we have people that have the same goal and have the same mission, and they are encouraging us to be on that road instead of trying to figure it out on our own.
I think you touched on one of the things you said was you get a chance to live it out. I think the church is a great place that we get to live out our faith on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and Proverbs says that as iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. And I think we hear that, we've heard that a lot, and it gets really kind of, we just kind of accept it as something, but I don't think we ever actually think about the fact that the sharpening process is not not an easy thing. Iron sharpening iron is lots of heat, lots of grating against the two irons to make sure that it's sharp. And so iron sharpening iron is not necessarily always the most comfortable experience. And I think that's kind of something that we struggle with as a society now, is that we are always we want to be in comfortable experiences with other people. We don't really seek out uncomfortable experiences, experiencing people who have different opinions, and because it's so easy to find people that just agree with us. But I think that's the beauty of the church, and it's what Christ has set up for us, is that we have this ability to find a group of people that will challenge us to be better, challenge us to become more like Christ, because that's the ultimate goal of our relationship with Jesus, is to become more like him. And I think without other people involved, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say somebody's listening right now. They've been burned by the church more than once and just felt like it's just easier and maybe more comfortable to do this on my own, to kind of figure it out on my own. Maybe take the parts of, Christianity or really any religion and just say, I like these parts. I don't necessarily love those parts. And just consider themselves to be more spiritual. Where does that person go from here? What are some next steps that they can take to say, if I am going to open up, I am going to trust, I am going to try to figure it out? What are some things that they can do to not necessarily make it back to religion, but to come back to Jesus' words and his encouragement for us to gather together and to encourage one another and hold each other accountable? What are their next steps of kind of opening up and trust?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would want to say is, one, I'm just sorry that you have been burned, you've been betrayed, you've been hurt by a church. That was never God's intent and design of the church. And so, I just say sorry that has been an experience for you. And my hope would be you would know that's not what God wanted, that God's heart breaks that you feel that way, and that's the experience you've had, because that's not what he intended in it. It's unfortunately that man's side of the church that can take to that. I think one of the things that is pretty amazing in our country is you have plenty of options. And so it's not like you got to go to a church, say, I'm going to check out this church, and that's where you got to be. You got to, obviously, there's got to be a level of comfort. You've got to feel there's some transparency and an ability to trust leadership. And so take some time, do some research. I think today we have more ability to do that than ever. Obviously, everybody's online right now doing church, so you can watch before you ever come inside a building. You can go on people's websites and you can see, maybe their leadership or what they're about, and try to get a pulse or the DNA of what that church is about, and see if some of that starts to line up. Try to take the focus off of the person, maybe the pastor or the ministry team, and look more to what is this church trying to do? They may not be perfect at it, but what's that bigger picture of what I want to maybe be willing to be a part of? And it is a risk. It's a challenge. It's going to take faith. It's going to take courage to step back in to a church and to find that. But I think if you give it a chance and you're willing to do that, you will feel more full in your relationship, because, again, we're supposed to be in that. And so just don't rush. Take your time. Ask questions. We do our 101 when we're able to do that. And sometimes, it's like, all right, who's got questions? Sometimes they don't, but I love it when people have just real honest questions, like, well, what about this? What about that? And learn those things. There's not a bad question to ask.
Yeah, and we've seen some interesting questions in those times, but I love the fact that it's a possibility. Like, you don't, Sunday morning during the service is not necessarily a great opportunity to ask questions, but you have this opportunity for us. We have this membership class that you can come to, and you can ask questions, and we're going to be able to answer it. We may not always know like every answer, but we'll find it out. We'll figure it out for you. And then I would say you get comfortable with the church, you find it, and then let's take a little bit let's step further. Let's figure out how you can get involved,
Sure.
because that's where the real rubber hits the road. Like, showing up on a Sunday is great, but I think and I think that's part of it. I think a lot of people have thought, if I just show up to church on Sunday, my life's going to be different, it's going to change, and then they go through that. But I think they're kind of missing out on the part that God really wants for them, and finding a place to serve, and then finding a group of people that they can connect with through a small group. I think those are those next steps to get involved.
Definitely. Yeah, I think you have to eventually get over the feeling of like this fear that's holding me back. Like, what if, and there's a million what ifs in the world, but what if I get hurt again? What if this situation goes bad? Because that can be paralyzing in any sort of situation in your life, if the what ifs are what holds you back from engaging. Because the reality is the what if works the other way around too, that what if you find a church that loves God in that truly cares about the community? What if God is able to meet your specific need in a small group? People that can help handle some of the burdens that you're experiencing in your life where you thought maybe you were alone in that situation. What if God uses you to impact someone else's life where that possibility might have been less, had you not been connected with the church. And so I feel like it's one of those pieces that like there will always be burdens. There's always been scars, but we can't necessarily allow the potential of something bad to happen to prevent us from stepping into all of the amazing things that God has for us.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So, well, hey, we just want to thank you guys so much for joining us this week.
Next time you see me, I will have a haircut. That's
Bald?
Good.
Bald?
No.
Bald and beard? You could do that.
But not like crazy like it is now. So, bald and beard. No, I'm not doing bald. Sorry.
We should take a poll. How many people want to see Pastor Dave go bald?
Oh my gosh.
So we will see you guys online.
Sunday. We have kids services 15 minutes before our normal service time. So gather your kids up a little bit early and then join in. Kids worship's a workout. I found that out this weekend. But it's super fun. My kids enjoyed it, and it's very engaging.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And the fun part, the part that I really love about the kids part is it actually it pairs very nicely with the message because of all our kids curriculum right now is aligning with what we're talking about in the main service, and so just really excited about that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you guys later.
When does it end?
It never ends. You're always live.
Always.
Always live. Green arrows.